Hi guys, welcome to Glam Chats. Today we have a special episode for you. Have you guys ever had just like an absolutely nightmare oops behind the chair? Like the kind of thing that you wake up and you're sweaty over in the middle of the night, like 10 years later. So today I want to talk about some client nightmares and some things that now is funny, but at the time was basically my worst nightmare. My first story is about one of my really, really close friends that has worked with me for years. We worked together forever, and I hope she doesn't get mad at me for telling this. I'm not going to say her name, and those of you who know, you know, because you were there. Um, so we were all working in the original bex+Co, our first location, and this was like I don't know, like 5 years ago. And she had a client that she sees all the time, and I wanna start by saying this client was so super cool, like, this could have been an absolute nightmare. Um, so yeah, she has a super cool client, and she applies the color, and she comes in the back, she's like, "She's feel like the color seems dark on her roots," and this client is, like, blonde. Like, she uses a, um, level 11 ash to lift this client to white, white blonde, and I know most of you are colorists, but if for some reason you're not a hairstylist and you listen along, 11.1 in Kevin Murphy is, like, blonde, 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 blonder than me. She gets it all over her roots. All of her hair is blonde, blonde, blonde. And the cool thing about applying a blonde blonde when you're doing your application is it's all the same color and it's going to get super light. So you don't have to be super careful with doing perfect sections. Like if you're bleaching or you can kind of just, you slap it on the roots, you go in a hurry, you get it on there. It doesn't matter if those lines are perfect or clean, it's gonna just turn blonde and it's all gonna match. Especially with Kevin Murphy, which has like a really seamless transition. So she like, she slaps the color on, like just gets it on there, doesn't worry about like perfect lines, just puts it on there. Um, and we're all in the background. We're like, it oxidizes, like it's the ash. It's gonna show up like a little bit gray, like it's gonna look a little bit darker. It's fine. Like I kind of walked by and I looked and I was like, "It does look dark," but I think it's just because it's got that, like, gray ash tone in there. I think it's fine. And she's like, "I don't know. Okay, yeah, you're probably right, and it's dark back here, like, it's fine." So she leaves it on for, like, 30, 40 minutes, full processing time, and a bunch of us are in the break room. It's a busy day. I think it's, like, a Friday, and she comes back and she goes, "There's no way this is right." She's like, I haven't rinsed it yet, but it's like black. Like it doesn't even make sense. So she's like looking at our color and she's like, what did I do? Like, what did it? Was it in the wrong box? Like, and one of our other stylists that works with us pulls a box out of the trash can. She's like, is that the box you used? Right. And our stylist that did the color is like, yeah. And she's like, this is an 11.1. This is a 1.11. If you know Kevin Murphy, you know that is a level 1, blackest of all, blackest black with a double ash additive. So for non-hairstylist, it's like the blackest black you've ever seen. It's like when you look at a comic book and the black hair has like a blue sheen because it's so dark. So she took that color and she put it all over her blonde client's new growth. I mean, we're talking like all over. And that client's, like, sitting at the bowl. At this point, the client doesn't know anything's happened, and I'm literally, like, silent. I'm like, "I don't know. Should I just get in my car and just drive down 183 until it ends? Like, just drive for hours until I don't even exist anymore." Like, I was that nervous, but I was like, "Okay, looks like I'm canceling my day. Let's troubleshoot this." So we go out there, and I'm like, "Okay, whatever we do," and this is a lesson to stylists if you get the color wrong. Even if you wanna tone at the chair and it's, like, orange and you know it's gonna be perfect, once that client sees that hair, they can never unsee it. So, like, orange or black roots or whatever, don't let the client see it because they will never, ever, ever unsee it, and they will be calling you in 2 weeks and being like, "I still see black," or, "I see the orange that was underneath that one time before you put the toner on." You can't let them see it. So we are at the shampoo bowl and we're like, "So, it looks like we used the wrong box of color, not a big deal, it's just a little darker than usual, so we're just gonna need to do, like, a quick process to lighten it up." She's like, "Okay," and we're like, "I mean, it's this happens and we're so, so sorry. And do you have time today for us to fix it? She's like, yeah, sure. That's fine. It happens, whatever. Of course, she's thinking her roots are like a little dark and they are like straight up black, 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 black. And we're like panicking. So we're shampooing her and we're like, oh, yeah, it's coming right out. And we're in the back, like, oh my God, what do we do? So we start bleach capping. We start lifting this color out the most we can. We start using Malibu treatments. We start putting everything on it that we can to lift this out, just in a complete panic, completely sweaty. My coworker is basically crying in a complete panic behind the chair and like peeking around the chair and being like, hey, everything good? Like coming out just a little bit longer. And we're like complete panic. So long story short, honestly, long story long. We finally get all of this color lifted out. We get it toned. I mean, it's not, I'm not going to say it was like the perfect seamless blonde as always, but I mean, knowing what happened to those roots, we felt like magicians. And this was like 3 hours later. And the client's like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy that happened. And we're like, I know, right? Weird. And I still to this day, like vividly, I dream about it. I remember this happening. I remember our reactions. I remember exactly how we felt. Like it was just one of those complete, oh my gosh, how did this happen moments. We survived. We fixed the client's hair. I'm pretty sure that client actually still sees the stylist to this day. They came back the next time. They're like, yeah, it actually looked really good. Just a little bit dark. No big deal. Just do your usual. And we're like, yeah. And I'm sure that stylist has never not checked the numbers on the box, like in every direction. Like, is it a 1.11 or is it 11.1? Which honest mistake, any of us could have done it. It's like, just you're in a hurry, you're working through clients, but that was probably like one of the most panicked moments I think me and her have ever had in the salon together. And this is a stylist that was in my wedding, like one of my best friends. That was like one of our moments. But just to go back to salon stories, that's one involving a client. We have so many fun ones. When I first started working here before I owned salons, I was young. I was like 27. Me and a group of 3 or 4 girls were salon besties. They're still my friends to this day. I still love them. I still check in with them. Really important in creating bex+Co and being a part of my life. Every single one of them has worked for me at one point or another or still does. So these are really important people to me. But I remember we were working one night. This is when we were broke. We were working in a commissioned salon. It was a new salon. None of us were fully booked yet. Before we went independent, we were working paycheck to paycheck. And on 2 different instances, my first one, we decided to all go out like on a Friday night. Of course, we had to be there on Saturday. We were going to be a mess. It's just what we did. But we were getting paid, I think the next day, like at midnight. Maybe it was a Thursday night. I don't know. But our pay was coming through at midnight. So we're like, okay. So if we go to the bar and we run a tab, and this is probably 10, 12 years ago. So it was before they like really ran your card. They literally just like held onto your card in the back and then you paid at the end of the night. So we're like, we just have to stay till midnight. And then as soon as our money drops, we can pay for all of our drinks. And then we like got a little carried away. We ordered food and we just like, we're getting paid. We had like a fun night. And around 12:30, we all go check our bank account and our pay didn't go through. So we're all mostly sitting on like $0 bank accounts. I didn't have a credit card. I had bad credit, no cash. Like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So I remember thinking, okay, well, let's just double down. And we just kept ordering drinks, kept hanging out. And I think for whatever reason, our pay came through at like 2 a.m. instead of midnight. We stayed till 2 and luckily we were able to pay for our drinks. But I still look back at that like, that's like my biggest nightmare as somebody who's really good with finances now. Like, I can't imagine having $0 in my bank account and going somewhere and ordering food and drinks, knowing that I couldn't pay for it and just hoping for the best. Like, just wild. If any of you are wondering, like, what kind of person I was before I became a business owner. And then my last story, same girls. We love to hang out together. We went out all the time. And one night we found, I think it was like a Tuesday, and we found $30 in the pocket of an apron, and we asked around and nobody claimed it. We couldn't figure out whose money it was. So we're like, You know what? I think it is dollar Mexican beer night at Black Sheep. So we all went to this bar we like to go to, and we're like, you know what? We're gonna take 25 Tecates for our group, and you can keep the rest for you, sir. And so we ordered like $30 worth of beer. We turned over our $30 and had the night of our life over that tip that we found in the apron. And it's just like such a small, silly thing to have happened, but I will never forget like those adventures and silly things that we did when we were young with those girls in the salon. And I'm telling these stories because I want to remember and explain like how important it is to develop those relationships in the salon and how much I've loved having that support system and having those friendships working in salons throughout my life, and how much I appreciate these girls and how important they are to me, and just this fun adventure that doing hair can be, and how lucky we are to have a job that allows us to just go into work, hang out with our friends, have fun conversations, and make people feel good about themselves. It's really an honor to have spent 20 years of my life doing it, and, the friendships and things I've learned are just completely invaluable. So I just wanted to do, like, a little fun glam chats about stories from behind the chair and not behind the chair, and tell you a little bit more about what who I was before I became a salon owner. So that's all for this one. Thanks for joining in. If you did, tell me all your funny stories. I'd love to hear them. Come tell a funny story on Glam Chat. Like and subscribe. We're here. I do this every Monday. So Glam Chats drop every single week. And thank you for joining in. Talk to you guys soon.